Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Bold and Brown. My name is Rupa.
And my name is Vinay. Welcome. We are going to get straight into the topic. My favourite topic. Was it your favourite topic?
It can be a little bit of a delicate topic, but do you know what? I'm going to be so open and honest. So yeah, I'm excited to discuss this today.
Yeah, she's going to be honest. I mean, I forced her not to marry me. Well, not just to marry me, but also forced her to live with my parents. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't force her. It was a non-negotiable for me. It was something that it had to be done in the sense that I suppose, look, I'm born in the UK. I'm born and bred in East London.
Oh,
For
babe, I wouldn't
I know. I don't know why I did
London.
that.
I don't know.
I have no idea why I did that. Essex, is that worse?
It
It's
sounds
getting
better.
It sounds better.
better.
I don't come from, India in a sense, not born there and have adopted that to such an extent where, I'm doing everything that's Indian. I like to do things, Western things as well. I like to go out and party and chill and, these kind of things that maybe they don't do in India. I think they do now, very modernized now.
I mean, you've seen Bollywood recently, like, God, they're showing more flesh than Hollywood.
I don't know what's going on in Bollywood. It's just crazy. I mean, you can't watching a movie with parents.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now it feels like I have to watch it first, then we have to watch it, then we can decide whether it's appropriate for our parents to watch.
And sometimes that's also not by choice because I've got to read subtitles, right? So it's like Chinese.
We'll start watching some Gujarati films in due course.
We'll be sleeping halfway through.
No, you know what? I always say that, Punjabi and Hindi films, Punjabi films especially, the way they make you laugh, you can't get that any other way. But yeah, so there was a non-negotiable for me, and I don't know, it's just something I feel very passionate about. Living with parents, not only living with parents, looking after parents, having that responsibility. I think it's my duty. I don't know whether it's because I'm the firstborn. I don't know. Maybe I feel that way because I am the firstborn. But it's just something ingrained in me. But I don't know how you feel about that.
I think probably because you also kind of grew up watching a lot of Bollywood movies, and this is a cultural thing that they do in India, and you've seen your mum living with your grandparents, and vice versa
and
as
vice
well.
versa, yeah. Actually, but the thing is, in this day and age, the kids who are not living with their parents, most likely their parents had lived with their parents.
It's true. It was just that generation, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, let's go back to where it all stems from. It's a cultural thing, of course. We know, why is it so common in India? I mean, why is it so common in India? I think there's a lot of reasons.
Saving money is definitely a big one.
Finances,
right?
Joint families is very common in India. Sometimes you have multiple families living in a house.
Yeah. And also, I think women used to have a lot of children. I mean, in India, I feel like they still do, right? My nan, so my nanny, had 8 children. My mum was one of 8. And God, I don't know if you see that nowadays in our generation.
No, my
Very
dad.
rarely.
Yeah, my dad, 5 siblings, mum, 4 or 5 siblings as well.
So that support and help was very much needed.
And when you have 4 or 5 siblings, it's just, sometimes it could be all, but majority of the time it might be just 1 or 2 siblings or one who are looking and living with parents. And nowadays, families, especially in the Western world, the families are smaller, and for whatever reason, and there's like a conception about, are you living with parents? Are you living with your mum? Like, it's such a bad thing. Oh my God, you're not grown up yet. You haven't got enough money to move out. And I think it's just a wrong way of looking at things.
Yeah, well, this is where I think, as Indian culture, not to say it in a horrible way, but we do come out a little bit smarter in the sense that we're thinking about not just, we want freedom and we want our own space, but also that how can this help us and how can this help them as an older generation? Because, I mean, I couldn't even imagine my grandparents, my dad's parents, being in a care home, not raising us. They practically raised me and my 2 brothers because my parents were so busy working. And, I can't imagine even being cared for by someone else, like a stranger who's not related to us. So I would have missed out on a lot of the culture. I probably wouldn't be speaking as well as I do now in my language, which is Gujarati. And same with you, right? You speak really well Punjabi because you had to with your grandparents.
Yeah, then it's English, of which is a good thing.
Yeah, so there are so many benefits. But yeah, let's really dive into like how this kind of began. Like, I want to ask you a question actually. Like, obviously, when you met me, you explained the story, like, it was love at first sight for you. You're head over heels as a woman of your dreams. I mean, the list can go on.
Yeah, don't remember that. No, but yeah.
But imagine, like, with all the things that I was ticking off on your list, the one thing I had said to you is, I don't want to live with my in-laws. I don't want to live with your family. I don't mind doing it for 6 months to a year, but then I want my own house and I want to live with just our family. Like, how would you have taken that, just out of interest?
Unfortunately,
it was a deal breaker.
Yeah, because my parents, like you said, I don't know what it is. Maybe it stems from watching Hindi films. I mean, I've been watching Hindi films since I was young. Back in the days when Salman Khan and Amir Khan were heroes, and any actor, but they would always have a certain thing about them. They'll be like, I've always wanted to be like the Indian actor, where he's got an amazing body, he's got a hot wife, he looks after his parents, he's good to good people, and bad people fear him. Bad people are getting justice because of him. I've always wanted to live up to that kind of expectation. And not only that, I mean, I feel, parents, they bring us into this world, and, especially as they get older, as they age, in their hour of need. That's what it is, because eventually it will become the hour of need. Why would you not want to be there for them or take care of them? Why would you want to hire outside or put them in a home, or because I've heard that some people say, oh, well, when they get older I'll live with them. I'm like, for the next 20 or however many years they have left, why would you not allow access? And it's about us allowing access to children. Like, for example, our children have such a great bond with all our parents, both our parents, because we allow that access. Allow meaning we are there. Obviously, if I live with my parents, I'm allowing access. We're there in the same household, one roof. And with your parents, we go to your parents every week without fail, almost Friday, Saturday night.
Since they were like 2-3 months old, they spent every weekend.
They see it as a second home.
Yeah,
and that's the way. I love the fact that your parents or my parents, if they were to tell our children off, I think it's I love watching that, because it feels like they have a right over them. They have the responsibility over them. It's such a beautiful thing.
It's like their own child.
Yeah, whereas like some people are like, oh, don't tell off my kids or whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? That's their grandkids. You're the children of them.
Yeah.
So there's more than one reason. And yeah, financially, absolutely. I mean, sharing a household expense. I mean, sharing and financially is one thing, but you can even do greater things. Both our parents, we do different things together in terms of, sharing whatever it might be, cars, properties, now investments and things, travel. I mean, the list will go on, and I think it's quite self-evident anyway.
Yeah.
But in answer to your question, unfortunately, no, because that was just too high on the... It's like, if I say to you, if I met you and I'd be like, look, I want to eat meat. I'm not vegetarian. I want to eat meat outside of the house. And, on the weekends, and maybe I want to have it in the home sometimes,
Hell no to all of the above.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
So meat, well, the good thing is I'm a passionate vegetarian as well. And I would never eat meat. So that was another one. I'm just thinking, if you had said I want to eat meat outside the house, I might be like, all right, cool. Brush your teeth, take mouthwash when you come back. Could have somehow worked around it,
Yeah, that's an important point, actually. Like, people have different, I would say, like, priorities, or they have different things that they would class quite high on their list of, like, non-negotiables. And I think I was so much more open to it because, as I said, I had been seeing my mum be the daughter-in-law to my grandparents and cook for them every single day, wake up at 3 a.m. to make sure that they've got enough food for the day while she's at work. Like, literally the grind was non-stop. Even when it came to, like, traveling, going on holiday, well, she's got to figure out who's going to look after my grandparents. And it used to be, like, us when, obviously, I was living in the house. But then, like, it could be my auntie or it could be someone else. And it's like, there's all these things to consider. But the overall picture that I saw, and I just saw so many benefits, I was like, well, you know what, I would like to stay with my in-laws, but I was very apprehensive. And the biggest thing that I was apprehensive about was our cultural differences. Like, yes, we're Indian, and someone on the outside may be watching saying, well, aren't you all the same? It was
You all look
so
alike.
different. We all look It was so different. The way you cook food, so different. Your language, so different. Like habits, you know, things you do, like the male role or the female role, like very different. Like even things that like my parents do in the house or what responsibilities they take in the house is very different from the responsibilities your parents take in your house. And so like it was a lot to adjust and adapt. But then again, for me, I had to weigh out the pros and cons. And I think also being in this entrepreneurial world, I knew it wasn't a 9 to 5 job. I knew that I would be traveling a lot for my business. I knew that I would be working unconventional hours. And so to have that extra person around, you know, for selfish reasons as well, like, you know, I need to do what I need to do for my career, but I don't want to send my kids off to a nanny, have a stranger look after them, especially the stories and stuff you hear nowadays. Like, you just can't really trust anyone on the outside, right? Sometimes even within your own family, I agree, but you just got to make a really good judgment call. And I think for me, that's what it was. I was like, right, my biggest desire has always been to own my own property, you know that, like to have my own dream home. But I think coming into East London, good old East London, when getting married, I really felt like I was moving to a different country, first of all.
You're upgrading, I mean, from north to
Oh,
east.
come on, please. There's
Well,
gonna be
North
there's
London's
gonna be
all
big battle about this on the podcast, right? Like,
No North Wheezy around here.
well,
we're not even in East London
I've gotta
anymore, by the
say,
way.
yeah, we're not, but we'll come to that.
We're in a village.
Which is much better. I've got to say, it wasn't an upgrade to the area, but it was an upgrade to the house. So that helped.
Yeah, we live in a nicer part of East London.
It was a
If
nicer
there is,
part.
if there is a
Yes,
nicer
it
part
was
in East
a
London.
nice, and it had its own drive, which I never.
And a garage.
And a garage, which I never got where I was. And it had a garden, which I never got in my mom's house. Like, there was no grass in the garden.
Does everyone have a garden? No.
Yeah, but there was no grass. It doesn't feel like a garden when there's no grass. You can't actually play, enjoy yourself as a kid. So I was like, okay, well, this house is pretty nice. You know, I've got my own room, had my own ensuite.
See, ensuite, there you go.
Ensuite. So
There
I was
you
like,
are.
okay, I can deal with this move. You know, I can adapt, I can adjust. And the things that felt really weird, I remember when I first moved in, was like, where's my place in this house? You know, in the sense, everyone's got their own
In the kitchen.
in the kitchen. Well, okay, haha, very funny. I meant like, you know, you've got your favorite seat to sit on in the living room. You got your favorite chair to sit on in the dining room. You've got like, you know, you do and I'm like, oh God, I don't even feel like I belong anywhere. Like, what do I do? Am I going to take someone's space now and all that stuff? And, you know, I think what made it so easy for me is just how open and welcoming and kind and loving your parents are. And that makes a huge difference. Like,
It does.
Right?
I mean, you know what? Like you said, there's initial fear, and it's, you know, because you're looking for the positive. You're looking for what's going to be great about this. You know, the house is a bit bigger than my house, or you know, the family. But some people who, you know, not everyone's the same. Not everyone gets on. You know, it's going to be where, you know, let's just say you're a daughter-in-law moving in. There's going to have to be a compromise on her part a bit more. Maybe a lot more. And I don't see, there's no ego in that. There's no shame in that. You know, I always say that, you know, if it comes to a parent-child relationship, who's the one who should change? It should be the child. Because the parents are set in their ways. You're coming into their house. They're of a certain way of thinking. And if you have that leeway, if you have that movement, area of movement, that you will negotiate on some things, you know, not because, you know, someone might be moving into a smaller house, or someone might be coming into a house where they're not comfortable, different culture, whatever. But, you know, if you're being positive, you're thinking, I'm going to make this work, I'm going to find the best, and you're going to, you know, it'll be a story. Look, now we're talking about East London, now we're in a better house in the village, you know, at least, you know, 1 hour away from London. But, you know, you upgrade. So there is initial fear, or the initial shock, but I think it's up to us to adjust to that.
yeah.
And, you know, me wanting that, so, you know, for example, I might have said to you, oh, you know, we don't have to live with parents, we can move out. And, you know, I'm sure you would have been like, all right, cool.
Do you know, the funny thing is, I don't know if I would have wanted to as well. Like, I wanted to experience what it would be like as a daughter-in-law living with the in-laws. And as long as I got on with your parents, that was the major thing. And I think for a lot of people, like, I know the girls that I've spoken to, some of my friends that I've spoken to, they don't get on with their mother-in-laws or their father-in-laws, and there's such a huge clash. There's the division is too big that it will start causing issues, and then you're putting your husband in the middle of it, because then it's like, oh, I'm having to choose between my wife and my mum, and you don't want to put anyone in that situation. But I also think that a lot of the time, I may be wrong, a lot of the times things can be fixed by communication.
Absolutely. I mean, the worst I hear is, for example, let's say you had a quarrel or an issue with my mum or dad, and I go and approach them on your behalf. I mean, that's just...
No, that's never happened.
That would never happen. But if you did come to me, I'd be like, yeah, just sort it out with them.
Yeah.
Go talk to them.
Yeah.
Sort it out. Not me be the voice for you, and that, then it creates more divide. Because they'll think, oh, she went to her husband, and, she didn't come to me directly. So
and
that
happens a lot, right?
That happens such a frequent thing.
It causes a big divide.
Like if, for example, if our son come to me and said, oh, my grandparents, did this to me, I'd be like, good. What did you do? I'd back them up. And other people are like, oh my God, which grandparent? Right, I'm going to have a word with them. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't have enough respect and love for your parents to know that they're making the good judgment. And I'm not saying they're always going to get it right, but that's okay. Because at the end of the day, they raised you or your, they raised your partner and they did a good job. And whatever they did the best with what they had. And they are much more experienced than you. They're much more knowledgeable than you. I think it's about putting our egos aside as well and just being open and saying, my parents, they're not always going to get it right, but whatever they done from a good heart, a good intention. And I remember reading I think last year around just after COVID, there was an article in the papers, and I wish I could retrieve it, but it said something like, the Western world could really learn a lot from the Eastern culture of living with parents. I mean, the benefits of it outweigh the cons. And yes, there are going to be some cons. Let's not sit here and be, it's going to be all dandy, it's all going to be all great. No.
Yeah.
There's going to be some downsides, but it's up to you to kind of, it's up to you. And that's the truth of it. It's not up to the parent, it's up to you to fix that, because parents are going to be parents at the end of the day. So it's I think, like I said, it's the most beautiful thing for me.
Yeah.
To be able to live. I'm proud of the fact that I'm living with my parents, and I will live with my parents until the day they depart, and that's the way it will always will be.
Yeah, and I sometimes have conversations with people as well about like the things that I have to adjust and adapt to, and Vinna knows, like we've had hot summer days here. We've been in like 30 degrees heat the last couple of weeks or whatever, and I'm always very conscious of what I'm wearing, because I do live with my father-in-law, and so I've got to wear a certain thing, or not that it's such a big deal because we are living in the UK and it's a very Western world, but still out of respect, right? Like I still have those values in me out of respect. Like I could probably get away with, in fact I would be able to get away with wearing different clothes at my parents' house, but then when it comes to your in-laws, like you have to be mindful of these things. And that's the stuff that I think a lot of women, maybe they don't want to be able to adapt. They want to have the freedom to do what they want and go out when they want and have their own space and do things their own way. But I think that communication is so important, and this is why I'm like, listen, my man, I need to go on holiday at least once a month so I can wear what I want.
We'll do that. And it goes both ways. Yeah. Like for example, when I go to your parents' house, and we go there most weekends, I know you go there every weekend, but if I can't, whenever I'm a little bit conscious that, because I leave the kids and I go gym, and then I'm thinking, I'll just like kind of dump the kids in. I'm going gym. I'm going to go out to see a friend or a business partner. I'm going to go for dinner, and we might go out later on, and I'm a little bit conscious. And even when I do come to yours, sometimes I think, all right, cool, I just want to just lie down for a bit. Then I'm like, all right, cool, I will lie down, not for too long, because I don't want to look as if I'm there lying and the kids are getting taken care of by missus and in-laws. So, but if I was at my house here, I'd have a completely different attitude. I'd just be so free and relaxed. But it's up to me to work. I think that's a really good thing, because I need that little bit of pressure on me, because that pressure is good pressure, and that pressure would help me get my act together. Maybe I shouldn't go. I was saying to you last week, I was like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m, go gym, and back before we were going to go to the temple. So I was like, while everyone's sleeping, I'll go gym, because then I ain't got to look after the kids, and I ain't going to have to there might be a little, and I know you said this to me as well, and it goes for both of us. Sometimes our parents will say things like in a little, I know my father-in-law would say, oh, why are you going gym? Why don't you look after your kids at home? And he said it as a joke. I'm like, whoa, that hit me. I was like,
there's always
sorry,
a little
Dad.
bit of truth in the joke, though, isn't there?
Yeah,
but
and like my dad will say to you sometimes certain things, and I know you'll come back and say, oh, once we've gone to like an event or something, and I don't know what Dad said, but you were like, oh my God, I don't want to go again. I'm not going on holiday again now. Only if we're going to talk about my mum's, or we're going to get the carer in, or we're going to get a full-time carer now.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not easy at all. Like every day, you have to learn to adapt. You have to learn to adjust. You have to learn to read body language. Like that's such an important thing. And I think because, like, I mean, my parents. Not so much my dad does know, but my dad's very much like, he knows he can just grill you kind of thing. But with my mum, it's like she's thinking, I know her, the way she thinks. In the back of her head, she's thinking, this guy works so hard. He's working all the time. He's always doing cases. He's running his own law firm. Like, he's hardly ever at home. And so, do you know what? I want him to come to my house and feel relaxed. And I want them to go out, like, last weekend we went to the movies, and I said to my mum clearly, I was like, Mum, we're going for a date now, we're going to movies. And she's like, oh, what movie are you watching? And like she wants us to enjoy, because she knows like how hard we work. Like there's got to be some kind of balance for us as well, right? And it helps us with our own sanity.
Absolutely. My mother-in-law's a fan of me. I'm a fan of her. Me and mother-in-law I like
very
this.
big fan, yeah.
We're like this, literally. And even though my mother-in-law is a very strong-headed Gujarati Indian lady, very strong-headed.
She wears her pants everywhere.
You can't mess with her. No. She's from Kenya. She's born in Kenya, so she's very sharp as well. And some people might have an opinion as well. She's very strict, or she's very, it's her way or her way. I'm like, let it be her way, but I'm in her good books. I've got there by being, like Rupa said, you have to kind of give as well, and give as much as you can. But some people hold on to whatever, someone's perception of somebody, they have a certain whatever, and they say, oh, because of they're like that, and I'm not going to be like this, and they take a strong stance. But you know what? On this call, we spoke about a few things, but I think it would be a good idea if I actually got my mum on this call with you. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah. So I'll just prep my mum to grill you and tell you negative things, and I think let's just part two this.
Bless her, she's going to be so nervous.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to just to relax, and let's do this.
She's at home today, so I think it'll be good if she's free. But in the meantime, let me share some secrets while Vinay's not here. Ladies and gents, whoever I'm speaking to here, like, I think such an important thing, in living with in-laws, living in a joint family, is that communication is a major, major thing, I have to adapt to how my in-laws do things a certain way, but it's okay. Like, they still do make food with all onions and garlic, and I don't eat onion and garlic. I have learnt now to cook myself. Well, since I got married, that's when I really learned how to cook, right? God, in my early 30s, how embarrassing. But that's when you learn. When you're living with in-laws, you're married, and you've gone away from your own mum's house. Like, this is really the time when you're just thrown in the deep end. I was like, right, now I need to learn how to cook. And they love everything I make. So this is what I always say, right? The men may be the head of the household, but listen to this, the women are the neck. We can turn this head any which direction we want. Whatever direction we want to turn it, we can turn it, and things will just happen. So sometimes we have to play that role that is a little bit like more submissive, and be like, okay, I'm going to take a back seat. I want to welcome my mother-in-law now, but that's a very important thing to remember, the head and the neck. Hi, Mum.
Hello.
So, This is my amazing, amazing, wonderful mother-in-law, which I said I wouldn't change for the world. I love living with my in-laws. But, Mum, I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
And you can be very honest.
Okay.
Just pretend I'm not even here. Be very honest.
All right.
What, for you, are the pros or cons living with? Like, what's the positive stuff or any negative stuff with, like, living with, a big family or joint family? I mean, you've done it with your in-laws all your life.
Yeah.
You've looked after Daji and Biji until the day they weren't here. So what would you say about this?
I love living with the family. I don't have any problem, apart from one.
Okay.
I used to get tired when I was with Biji and Daji. There was so much work to do. And same now. Sometimes I get so tired working for grandchildren, working for their grandfather, my husband. So that's the only thing. But when I have some rest, I feel good again. I love to be with the family, you know. I can't live alone. Never.
So imagine if Vinay or myself or anyone was like, oh, we want to live in our own place. And like, how would that make you feel?
I want you to be, independent. I want you to live the way you want to live. I might be a little sad, but I'll get used to it. As long as you see me often, frequently, I can see my grandchildren. I can bring them home. They can stay with me for days, nights, you know. I would love that. But still, I prefer to stay together.
Okay, so the big question also, if we decide to move away to Dubai or somewhere, because, you know, we've just bought some properties in Dubai. I know obviously you're here because you do your seva work.
Yeah.
But once your seva work is over, would you ever consider like having maybe 6 months in Dubai, 6 months here? Like, what's your thoughts, or like living permanently with us?
I would love that. I don't mind at all. If there's no seva, I can live anywhere. The only thing that's keeping me here is seva and Babaji's darshan. So if that finishes, then I can live anywhere. No problem.
And when Vinay first came to you, like, do you remember when he first told you about me? Like, do you remember that conversation ever? Or like, you know, oh, she's Gujarati. Like, did you ever think, oh my God, how is a Gujarati girl going to fit in a Punjabi family?
No, I never had that in my mind. I always welcome anyone in the family. And this doesn't matter, actually. Actually, you know.
Even though I don't cook Gujarati food?
Doesn't matter. As long as I can cook. No problem. I can learn Gujarati. If you want me to cook Gujarati food.
And you can go to my mom's house to learn the Gujarati
learn there, or I can learn from YouTube. No problem. No problem. I'm always happy with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And Vinay is a lovely son. Love to be with the family. And my grandchildren, oh my God, they love me so much. And I love them too.
Yeah, I think for us, the point that we were making on this podcast is it's so important for grandchildren to have that bond with grandparents and like learn traditions of living.
Definitely, definitely.
You know, they can learn the language a little bit more.
Right. They need their grandparents. You know, some things parents can't teach them. Only grandparents can. Because they have so much experience. So I'm so lucky. Thank you, Babaji. So lucky.
Okay, thank you, Mum. Thank you for that.
Thank
you for your time. So there you go, folks. There you have it. I didn't pay her any money, by the way, to say nice things about me or about the family. But this is just authentically her. And this is why I feel like I'm so lucky to have a mother-in-law like that. And I completely agree. If you're in a situation where, you know, you are not able to live in a joint family. And at one point, let me tell you, I was living with 10 people. 10 people in one house. Okay, in a 5-bedroom house. 10 people. And I don't speak the language. I never spoke the language. We cook completely differently. Like, I'm not used to how my father-in-law does things compared to how my own father does things, or vice versa, my mother-in-law compared to my mother. Like, it was crazy. But now we live 6 people in a house from where we were. I was just saying we were living 10 people in a house at one point.
We were?
With Daji, Biji, Sohi, all of us, Kiki. For you, see, it doesn't even like we were. Like, you didn't notice any difference because it's us that notice the changes and have to adapt to everything.
Yeah, when the house is big enough.
Yes. But it's been an experience and I wouldn't change it for the world. And by the way, your mum said that she would definitely consider living with us in another country once her seva work is finished.
Done.
They'll live with us.
There you are.
There you are. So anything else
no.
you feel is important?
I was just going to wrap up. You met my mum now as well, and I hope it was good. I was there having some food, as you do as a guy. I wasn't listening outside the door. But in any event, I think, just to kind of wrap up, summarize, living with parents, a wise man once said that the pros outdo the cons by far. And I think it's just a beautiful thing that you are privileged. It's a privilege, actually. It's not a chore. It's not something that, I have to look after my parents. You're privileged. If you change the meaning of the things, whatever you're trying to do, if you change the meaning behind the words, it makes a big difference. I know one of my coaches said, because if I'm having junk food and I like the taste of pizza, burgers and chips, and I say, I have to give that up now in order to have avocado, sweet potato and broccoli. If you're giving stuff up, that means you're giving it a bad meaning. And if I was to say, I'm upgrading my life and my body, and that gives it a different meaning. So the same thing with, living with in-laws. I think you're privileged. You're in a position that you get to serve your in-law. It's the same thing with gym. I get to go to the gym. I'm privileged. I don't have to go to the gym. Oh my God, I have to go to the gym. No, it's a privilege to go to the gym. I'm able to go. I get to go to the gym. And the same way, I think we can apply that to, living with family, living with, whether it's in-laws. I mean, just last thing as well, sorry, just not to go on too much, but I was in the US last year, my cousin's wedding, and one of his family friends was there. I met him for the first time. I went to his house, and America, houses are just really big there. Live in a nice part of New York, and he showing me his house, really big house, and there was one room there, and I go, who lives there? And he goes, my in-laws, my mother-in-law lives there. And I was like, your mother-in-law lives with you too? He goes, yeah. He goes, their children, their sons were fighting about, who's going to take care of her, and he come and he goes, you know what, F you all, I'll take her. And I said to him, I'll never forget to him, I said to him, I go, you know what, I've met you, and I liked you, and my respect for you has been here, but now my respect for you has gone through the roof. Hats off to you.
Yeah.
Because that's something I would love to do. I love to live with my in-laws, and it sounds crazy. I'll adjust, I'll adapt.
Yeah.
My father-in-law can say what he wants to me, but I would love to do that. So just want to share that.
Yeah, and on that thought, we've got children who are looking at how we are living. So as they get older, they also may say, hey, I want to live with my parents. I want to be able to look after them. You don't know what's going to happen, but they do what you do, not do what you say.
Yep.
Right? And so they're going to watch the actions that you're taking, what you're doing, how you're treating your parents or how you're treating your in-laws, and they're just going to follow suit. And it just stems from like how you are behaving, how you are looking at things, and they're going to follow exactly what you're doing. So I think I would love for Kiki to say to his wife, like, I want to live with my parents, I want to look after them and blah, blah. Like, we may very well say, hey, listen, we don't want to live with you. We want to live our life. We want freedom. We want to travel the world. Like, that's a different thing if we didn't want to. But it's just nice to think that if that's what he wants, because he's seen us doing it, like, it's just a lovely thought. And you know what? One day you may need looking after. And you may not want a stranger in a care home looking after you. You may need that little bit of extra help. And you may want your kids to do it. But have you done it for your parents? Have you done it for your in-laws? Because everything is karma. Everything is law of attraction.
Absolutely.
What you give, you're going to receive. So just remember that. And a big shout out to all the in-laws who are listening to this for also the sacrifices you make. It's not a one-way road. You also have to adjust and adapt to a new person coming into your house and building a whole new relationship and building a whole new future together. So yeah, big shout out and respect to all of you.
Yeah, I had to adapt with this one coming in.
Such a big adaptation.
Big time.
All the sacrifices you've had to make.
I remember saying to you that, I had more money. As you know, I didn't. I was broke when I met you anyway.
I didn't know that, but that's another
That's
podcast.
A whole new podcast. All right. Thank you very much.
See you all soon.